What's going on, everyone? Mike here in the VFH Garage. Today I'm going to tell you about a new product that just hit the market. No, I'm not sponsored. No, I didn't get it for free, but it is worthy of mentioning this product because it's going to save me a lot of time in the long run. So what I have here is a tie rod. This here is a heat-treated 4340 tie rod, and why that's important is the regular tie rod, the Currie Currectlync, when you bang into rocks and stuff like that, it can bend. That's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to bend it back in order to get things to keep from banging into each other. With the 4340 heat-treated tie rod, that is designed to, when you smack into a rock, it will allow it to bend, but when you clear that obstacle, it springs back to straight. Now, I want to be clear, this thing isn't indestructible, but it has a very high resistance to bending. So when you bang into those rocks, it's designed to bend and then spring back. So that's going to be huge. I'm going to go show you my tie rod here in just a second. But this one, like I said, I talk about Black Magic brakes all the time. The stuff they put out is nothing but quality. So this one here, they made a limited run on these tie rods. And I know they were selling like hotcakes not too long ago, so you can go on the website. There may or may not be some left. I haven't checked. But if not, I believe they're going to allow some back orders on that. They're going to make another run as well. So what I need to do is get this thing cleaned up, primed, painted. Then we're going to throw it over there on the Jeep in preparation for my Hydro Assist project, which is coming up next. So again, 4340 heat treated is going to solve those bending problems of the tie rod. It uses the stock Currie Currectlync tie rod end. So all this does, this bar right here just replaces your current tie rod on your Currectlync system. And it's as simple as that. And it comes with the hardware. So you get new OEM style clamps with it. You get the new, all the new fasteners and everything, grade 8 bolts and all that. So that all comes with the kit, very easy. I'll show you after I get it painted and installed, but in the meantime, let's go take a look at the tie rod the way it sits right now. So as you make the corner here, you're going to take a look down my tie rod there, and you're going to see a nice little bow to it. I'm going to take the new one. I'm going to sit up next to the clamps, kind of give you an idea of how off straight that is. So that thing's got a pretty good bow in it. It's not horrible, but it's not good either. You know, it's creates toe-in problems, which if it's a trail rig only, not a big deal, but driving down the road as a daily driver, that can become very frustrating, having to straighten your toe out every time, getting that tie rod off, bent back into shape, put it back on. And it's not a design flaw. I mean, that's a heavy-duty tie rod there. That thing takes an absolute beating. But anytime you bend steel, or anytime you run into it pretty hard, you're going to bend it. So those things are bound to happen. The new Black Magic Brakes 4340 chromoly tie rod is here to solve that problem. So I need to get it stripped and primed and painted. We'll get that installed as preparation for my next project, which is going to be Hydro Assist. And I have all the parts to do that. That'll be a separate video. So let's get busy on this one. It's time to take the old tie rod off, put the new tie rod on. This is nothing that is earth-shattering how to do this, but I just kind of want to walk through so you can see exactly what you need to do. You need to loosen your clamps, get these clamps loosened up. You need to bust the tie rod end from your knuckle. You have to have some upward force if you have a tie rod flip like me, so you can put a clamp here, tightened up pretty good, pop this with a hammer, and eventually this pops right out. And then in order to get your toe in as close to what you had before, take a little paint marker, put a mark there, put a mark on this side, and then when you tighten those back up, at least your toe in will be reasonably close and it'll be somewhat easy to adjust from there. Your tie rod ends are right hand, left hand threads, so when you pull these off, this tie rod has to go this way, that tie rod has to go the same way, and or the opposite way, and then it'll come right off. So I'm going to leave this tie rod in, or the tie rod end in, because that doesn't need to come off. So let me get this all the way unscrewed. We have the new tie rod ready to go. There's a great opportunity to get more anti-seize on your tie rod end threads, because if those get seized up in a bar like this, man, it makes for a long day. It just sucks. So get that done. Next word of advice, get your clamps on before you connect that other tie rod. Otherwise, you have to take everything back apart. So get them both on there. And then start connecting this in. And remember, these are thread specific sides. So if you're trying to put a tie rod in and it doesn't go in, turn the bar over and go to that side, unlike somebody else that I know that couldn't figure it out for a while. Now you're going to want to orient your clamps the same way that the original Currie bar is. Put your bolts to the bottom side. Otherwise, if you put them up at an angle like this, or you even put them upside down, they're going to start running into things. So if you can keep them facing down, then that's going to be the best option for you. So in order to do that and get the clamp that we need, the cut line needs to be perpendicular to ground. Then you could put your bolt nut in there, tighten it up, and then get your tie rod end tightened back up so you can check your toe. After you get all of that done, at that point you're all set. It is very straightforward. Like I said, it's a simple upgrade. Hopefully this keeps me from bending this thing. I can't wait to try it out. I'm looking forward to it. So let me get it wrapped up the rest of the way. One more thing I want to mention about this real quick. When you install your bolts and put your nuts on there, these are 3/4 inch on both sides, which is nice. You're going to see me use an impact driver just to get them started and driven on a little bit, and then I'm going to tighten it by hand. And the reason for that is you don't want to over tighten these, because that can create the clamp to stretch. And if the clamp stretches, then your tie rod will sit here and do this. So you really want to do this by hand once you get that initial force started, and then you're going to be good. So this is installed correctly. I had to retighten this nut up. It wasn't sitting quite right. But anyway, so my tie rod end is secured and torqued to what it's supposed to be. These are torqued now to where it will not turn with by hand. And now I can put the wheels back on, run it out, get my alignment perfect. And then after that, I'll start my hydro assist project. So I want to make sure that my alignment is exactly where I want it to be prior to starting hydro assist. It just, that way everything is done where I want it. I don't have to worry about adjusting anything. Set it once and hopefully forget it, but we shall see. Anyway, we're good to go. No more bend problems with this one. Hit a rock, it'll bow, but it'll spring back to straight, and hopefully I don't have the same problem that I did with this one. And now that I have it off, you can really see the bend on this thing. Like I said, it wasn't a bad thing. It just, having to straighten it up every time started getting old. So anyway, great upgrade.